One of the oldest grounds in English football and the events of one of the most famous moments in English football. Of course, I'm talking about Liam Palmer's 96th minute equaliser against Peterborough. Welcome back to Grounds Ranked, where we'll be marking Hillsborough on looks, accessibility, food, and atmosphere. Obviously, I'm also joined by my co-host Dylan, and
Co-host?
we are definitely
I'm the
going
host.
to co-host. You're the co-host, anyway, and we're going to have to take off our bias caps today. I do believe.
Next to my name, does it not say host?
Dylan, we're both co-hosts. I'm kind of waiting. Are you going to say hello at any point?
Hello, but I feel I'm. It's disgraceful that you called me a co-host. I'm a
Co-host because we're equal. We're 50-50. I can't.
Without me, this room wouldn't exist. This little room we're recording in wouldn't exist.
Probably wouldn't, but it does. So
yeah.
Well, are we going to say? By the way, if you haven't seen our last, Grounds Ranked, it's on the YouTube channel, QPR.
Well, if you haven't seen it, you are living under a rock because it is the best podcast in human history.
It's on
14 views.
Oh, 18 views, popping off. Ooh.
Oh, that's better than I thought.
Views. Oh, popping off. Yeah. So
3 comments
go check
as well.
It out. It may be on Mom.
Someone called us sexy in the comments.
We are recording this 8 hours after it came out, so 18 views, 8 hours could be worse.
Someone said, "Who are these good-looking blokes?" in the comments. Thank you.
I mean,
Mr. Charity.
He's not wrong, is he? By the way, I feel like I'm going to have to point this out. Otherwise, people probably will mention it. Yes, my background is a mess. I can't be able to move it, and this is a pink Xbox controller.
Yes, it is.
Should we start with the first category, Dylan?
Yeah, you can start.
So, stadiums looks. How the stadium looks. Complicated category, I know. So, I think this is probably one of the hardest because while I do want to stay unbiased, I feel like stadium looks is the hardest one to stay unbiased on, as it's my opinion on a ground, and I don't know what my unbiased opinion on a ground be. I know an atmosphere, but ground's different. So I've put down. It's an historic ground, a very historic ground, one of the oldest in English football. If you listen to the intro of the podcast, the stock cop stands out and does create good atmosphere. Very
good.
People with the drums at the top there, and that's where I've got my season ticket, so I'm going to like it more. Leppings Lane needs knocking down straight away based off history. But I would like anyone who comments it on the Twitter posts about the ground to put some money towards it, as the club can't afford it. So it can't be knocked down. But I would like it to be knocked down, please. Quickly, get it done. And the North Stand is a very nice stand. Big fan of it. But it is getting a bit old. And Shanziri kind of put his name on it, so I don't like looking at it. And the South Stand, or the posh stand, where the boxes are, is definitely the most modern stand in looks and when it was created. And very nice stand. And the stand I watched my first ever Chef Wednesday game in. To mark it down and to be fairer, there are some restricted views because it's an old stadium, but there's not as many as most old stadiums. There's 2 poles in the Leppings Lane end and 2 in the Cop, so it could be worse, but that's because it does go through renovations quite often. Though the corner stand with no seats is an eyesore, and either put seats in or get rid of it because it's annoying me. Dylan.
So I've basically put that it's a nice old ground with a lot of character. I've sat in most of the stands, bar the away end and the lower Leppings Lane end, and the view in most of them is good. But there is some where you're lacking view. The Cop, obviously, you've got the pole covering a little bit of the pitch. It's not a lot. And you've got, if you're sat in a lower row of T1 and trying to look at the Cop end of the pitch, you can barely see it. Depending on how tall the people in front of you are. That's not because it's not because of the ground.
That's not the stadium's design.
I know. I'm just saying it's part of the look. It's part of the looks because you can barely see. It's because there's really tall people. You can't see the other end of the pitch, so that has been included. Because I've sat in T1, I can barely see because there's like this 6'8" giant who was stood in front of me. The 6'8" bald giant in front of me that's definitely not 6'8", but I call him 6'8". He was always late to games. Always misses a
Oh, I
kickoff.
saw. By the way, I saw him
Whoever
at the
you
Coventry.
are, whoever you are, fix yourself.
I saw him at Coventry away while he was leaving the stadium. I saw him. It was a mental thing. He didn't notice me, but I noticed him.
It's so sad when they
Um,
don't notice you, but you've been sat behind them for the entire season.
I feel like Stadium Looks is definitely the hardest on ratings. Like I'm struggling a lot on this rating. I've changed it 4 times already, and I think I may change it to 5th. So can you please go first with the rating, Dylan?
Well, I've given it. You'd say mine is biased, but personally, I wouldn't think it is. I've given it a 9. Giving
A
it that wiggle
9.
room of the
Hmm.
better looking stadiums above it, but it's not. It's not the worst looking stadium,
Hmm. This is my issue
and
because
so
I do
that's why I've
think,
given it a 9. Giving it the buffer.
but like my issue with it is that I do think it's a great stadium and old fashioned because I do mostly like old fashioned stadiums over newer stadiums. But I don't think it can give it a 9 because there are things I don't like about it. Like there's an entire stand I don't like about it. But it's like because the history or its looks, it's a difficult one. So I've given. Do I change it again? No, I'll go with an 8.6. Is what I'm going to give it. Stadium looks.
That sounds a bit fair. The only reason I gave it a 9 is I like the stadium, obviously, but there's a bit of
Hmm.
wiggle room above it for stadiums that I might say look a bit better or are more practical, something like that. That's why I've given
Like
it
there
a
are stadiums
9
I like
and
more.
not a 10.
I'll say that there's stadiums I
Yeah,
like more.
that's why I've given it an entire point buffer. I'm pointing at the camera, but I've got a note. I've got my spreadsheet on this screen, so I'm not pointing at you saying you. I'm not giving you a 9.
Aw. So
No, not you.
moving on
Not
from the
you.
most. Oh. From the most
You're not being
difficult
given a
category
9.
to probably the most easiest. Accessibility. Dylan, take it away.
Okay, so basically, there's a lot of transport links, including buses and trams. But if you're not from Sheffield, it might be a bit hard for you to get to the ground because you might not know what tram to get on, and you might get lost as the ground isn't in the centre of Sheffield. But for me, I get one train to Sheffield, walk 45 minutes to the ground, and I'm there. I know where I'm going. It's simple.
Okay. I've put on my notes that the ground is far away from the station. It's quite far away. I prefer grounds that are close to the station, apart from Crewe. Anyway, it's about a 45-minute walk. There is a tram that takes you to the ground. However, I don't like using it on match days because it gets very, very packed. Definitely after a match. Before a match, if you go early enough, it's not that packed, but still not fun to use. Sheffield Station is a well-connected station. There's good links you can get from you can get Manchester all around the Midlands, all the way down to London areas like that. So that's always good.
Edinburgh.
Um, uh, yeah, obviously, I think you need to change. Most times you need to change to
Cross
Edinburgh. There's
country
only
straight to
one.
Edinburgh.
Yeah, it's only 4 hours. It's one every 4 or 5 hours. Anyway, I don't. The rating's definitely hard on this one again, but for a different reason because it's far away. There's ways to get there, but like bus is something. Yeah, I would. By the way, an advice: never drive on Penistone Road after immediately at around 4:45 to about 5:30 on a Saturday if Sheffield Wednesday are playing at home because you won't get
That
that.
depends which direction. If you're going towards the ground, don't. But if you're going away from the ground, there will be a little bit of traffic, but it won't be
Yeah,
like
so
going
I still
towards the
wouldn't
ground where
recommend it.
everyone's like stop start.
Hmm.
There is also a lot of traffic lights
So
which don't help.
one thing I will say to give it its positive is there's good places to park around it. So if you take the car, there's residential areas you can park on. You can find places there's car parks you can pay for. There's like places you can park so there's places you can park, so that's fine.
Said that 4
But
times.
I'm saying it again. But like buses, I wouldn't recommend a bus on the way back because the traffic's bad. Taxi, again, I wouldn't recommend that on the way back because the traffic's bad. Tram, again, wouldn't recommend it on the way back. So I'd recommend if you're going to take the tram, I'll take it further down because then it's less packed. Same with buses or taxis. I'd walk down Penistone Road further. So due to these issues, I'm going to give it a 5.3.
All I'm gonna say, tram-wise, is last time I checked, I was told on if it's a 7:45 p.m. kickoff. I swear I got told that there's no trams running after 7.
Yes, that is true. No,
So if you're
they
going for a
run like,
7:45 p.m., they do football special, like one tram or two trams of football special, but
but
there's
they
no
only take you
routed
to
trams from
train station or
Hillsborough.
cathedral. So
Yeah, there's no routed trams from Hillsborough after 7 o'clock on a midweek game.
your rating?
Um, mine's gonna look a bit high compared to yours now. I'm giving it 6.8.
That is, I do think that's a bit high. I think that's a bit too high. But in
Yeah,
my
it's
personal
staying, so I
opinion,
don't care. I don't care. It's
yeah, it's
staying.
your opinion.
You'll go food.
The best category. So, this again is difficult because it fully depends on where you sit for what food you can have. Because
Prawn
if I
cocktail
was a South
sandwiches.
Stand, if I was a prawn cocktail sandwich brigade on the South Stand, this rating would be a lot higher, as they do chicken and chips, which is very nice. The chips are nice, chicken's nice, and all that stuff. They do also do like pizzas. They do loads of options on the South Stand. But if you sit in any of the other free stands, you have to wait about 20 minutes for a pie that's most of the time overcooked. Saying that, they do a lot of pie options. They do meat and potato, chicken balti, but my personal favorite is steak and hendos, which, as far as I know, is something which is one you can only get at Hillsborough Football Stadium and not at any other football stadiums. I haven't found any anyway. I know you can get steak pies at like Barnsley where you can put hendos on, but that's different. This is like steak and hendos in the pie, and it's very nice. But it could be a bit of bias because I do really like hendos. But that's
You've
my
got
opinion.
some in your room in London, which you probably should showcase. While he's gone, I would say the one thing I don't like about Hillsborough, there's no TVs in the Cop. So if you're going down to get food, you can't really watch the game on a TV.
Ah, yes.
You can only
Mm.
literally listen for the atmosphere. North, south, and I don't know about the Leppings Lane end. They have TVs. So
Leppings
do the
Lane.
Leppings Lane? They don't, but the Cop doesn't either. And the concourse can get a bit crammed if you're going at
The
45.
concourse is terrible. That's all stadiums. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, so I put that the food inside Hillsborough is good. There's a good pie selection, and the pies that I've had are sometimes good, sometimes might be a bit overcooked, but overall they are quite good. My favourite, chicken
One thing I
balti. If you're getting a pie, get a chicken balti pie. Best pie in football. Don't
one
know
thing
why
I
you're
will
laughing.
say
It's
on it
true.
though is that if it's a sold out game, you need to
They
get
will
food
run out of
before
pies.
the game because they don't stock enough. They also have other options there, but neither me or don't ever got them or remember them, so they don't get counted.
Yeah, I was going to mention them because I swear they have like some stupid sandwich or something that no one gives a shit about. Oh yeah, they do the meatball sub or something stupid like that, but
Yeah, but I've never had
I
it.
don't know what they are,
Can't
and
rate it.
I can't remember. I swear they do pork sandwiches as well. Either way,
I
don't
don't
know
know.
what they were. Oh, my rating on this is
Well,
quite high as well.
I would love to talk about. I would love to add this to the rating. They do berries. Never had it, but and another thing, going on it's not accessibility. It's not getting counted as the rating. But if you do get to Hillsborough, there's a jacket potato place.
Proud potato,
Called,
love it.
Proud Potato near just up from the Leppings Lane end, the way you get into that. I'd highly recommend it. Very nice.
It is very nice. Good servings as well. Mozzarella cheese, beautiful. I don't know why I just kissed at the camera. Beautiful, beautiful mozzarella
Yeah.
cheese. Love it.
Your rating, please. Frosty.
Oh, mine's quite high. It's a 9.8. No, not
Excuse me.
9.8, 9.2, 9.2.
Excuse me.
9.2.
I'm sorry.
That's my
A
biased opinion, so I put a
9.2.
9.2.
Yeah,
It's biased.
no, it's not supposed to be biased. You don't remember. I'll read
Okay
my
then.
introduction, my last line
Okay then.
on the introduction. Dylan, we
I've
are
changed
definitely
it to an
going to have to
8.8.
take off our bias caps. I think that's still too high, but no.
Either way, it's an 8.8.
I've gone
No, you know
much
what? I'll
lower than
change
an
it
8
again. I'll change it again. It's going to an 8.5.
Okay, I've gone much lower than that because I do like the steak and enders pie, but I just don't think the food options as good as other places I've been to. And taking those into account, I've gone with a 6.8.
What? You
Right,
literally
okay, you
get
know what?
hen-nose inside a pie and you go 6.8.
Right, I'll back my point up. It was absolutely nowhere near as good as the pie I had at Rotherham, and I gave that an 8. So
I gave Rotherham a 7.9 because it was spicy. I don't like spicy chicken
so
balti pies, and chicken balti pies in Hillsborough are not spicy.
probably
I rest my
we
case.
disagreed on the accessibility, but we very much disagree on the food because the food big one to disagree on, I'd say.
Well, it's opinionated. Like I could say something, you could say something. It's completely irrelevant.
Atmosphere, Dylan, go.
Oi! Is it my go to go first? Yeah, it is. So I put on a good day, the atmosphere can be good and rocking. Plymouth was loud and lively because it was first game of the season. Nice weather as well. The stadium can sometimes get going in the cough cough Peterborough in the semi final of the playoffs. That was the best atmosphere I've ever watched. And
Okay.
that is what I've got.
It's impossible for me to judge the atmosphere rating as I've been to 62 matches at Hillsborough, ranging from Papa John's Trophy matches, where there's about 6,000 people because no one gives one, to the Peterborough second leg, which is the best atmosphere I think I have ever experienced or will ever experience a football match. So if I'm gonna pick, if I had to pick one game, if I judge it off the last game at time I went to Hillsborough was the Plymouth game, and the atmosphere was very good. Hi Ho Silver Lining is very loud. It was always very loud most of the time, even in like pizza trophy games or whatever. They're still quite loud. Constant chanting throughout. Though my rating, if I can't just judge it off the Plymouth game because it really depends which you go to. Because the fact I've been to it, I've been to League One. The atmosphere wasn't as good as it is now in the Championship, and I've seen football under Zisco Munoz, so the atmosphere is going to be terrible. It wasn't terrible. It was quite good. It was just different, good in a different way. But so
It was
if I had
mainly
to,
chanting "Get out of our club."
yeah.
No
So
chance
it's
about
really
the football.
difficult. Like this is much harder to give a rating than like just if you go to a game like say like the Loftus Road one, which you can go back and watch on the YouTube channel, go back and watch or listen to on Spotify. But the because that's only one game and I can judge it off that one game and that's all I'm judging off. But I've got over 60 games to judge it off. So I'm struggling. I'm debating this one as well. I think I'm going to go with. Have I missed any points? Are there any points I missed?
All I'm going to say is because I've sat in the top section of the South Stand. If you're going to sit there, you can hear the cop, and it is insanely loud.
Yes, there is another point.
So that has helped. That's helped my rating massively because the cop is extremely loud when you're in the South Stand. The South Stand is shit though. They do not chant.
One thing I will
Sheffield
say
Wednesday,
is
they only clap until the hi ho. That's literally it. They literally clap, and that's literally it.
Yeah. One thing I will say is the 60 plus games I've been to, probably 45, 50 have been in either T1 or the top of the cop because that's where I sit because I go near the atmosphere. So that's also going to probably inflate me scores because you hear more atmosphere when you're in the atmosphere. So, and obviously I don't get that other grounds. If I remember
that's because you don't know where the
game...
atmosphere is in the other grounds. You just
no,
sit
that's what
in
I mean.
a random stand.
Yeah, so that's going to dictate how much I feel the atmosphere is high or low. If I remember the first time, not the first time, but like the first time you went to watch Sheffield Wednesday play, and we were at the bottom of the South Stand, I remember the atmosphere was decent then, and we were dire in a game against Rotherham. So the atmosphere was decent then, and I was in the South Stand, which it's not known
We
for
got
chanting.
rained on.
I'll put it that way. Yeah, it's not known.
We
for
got rained
on
the first row, so we had to move. Because Daniel put us on the first row.
That's because that's where I'd stood the 4 games before because that's where I'd sat before that, and it was fine. Thank you very much. Even when it was snowing, I didn't get snowed on, so I don't know why it rained on us that day. Anyway,
speaking of snowing, are we going to talk about the tram stop that you got snowed in?
No, because that wasn't me going to a Sheffield Wednesday game. So
that was still a tram stop in Sheffield.
Yeah, it's not part. Anyway,
I feel like it's a good story to tell.
I'm not telling you. Uh,
People gotta know, Daniel. The
I feel
people
like
gotta know.
yeah, but I'm not telling you. But I feel like atmosphere. If I'm talking about atmosphere during the game, I feel like it's obviously atmosphere also depends on scoreline. So, like the Plymouth game, the atmosphere was great because we were dominating Plymouth, which looks better and better each week, by the way. So it's really difficult. This. So I think I'm going to lock in a rating. I think I'm going to lock in 8.3. It's the
Oh,
rating
mine
I'm going to
doesn't.
lock in.
Mine doesn't look that high anymore now. You're giving it 8.3. I've gone with
I
an
think like
8.8.
okay.
Mainly because
Explain.
I've heard the blisteringly loud cop from not inside the cop. It was like they've
Yeah, you did.
boosted the bass of the cop, but it wasn't in the cop. Also, West Bromwich Albion game last season, 3-0 win. It sounded like someone had got the video and got a video and boosted the bass, but it wasn't a boosted bass, and them limbs were insane in T1. T1.
Right. Okay. What? So I feel like your score's going to be boosted because you've been to. Because I feel like near the top of the south stand. Because you've been sitting different places. Like I've literally got to judge my score entirely of 2 places, or 3 places.
Bottom of the south stand.
I don't really remember that because that
That
was
don't really
3 years
count
ago.
though.
So I don't really remember that. I don't
That
remember
was
it, so I
3 years
can't
ago.
remember the rating. Yes.
To be honest, I can't remember it other than Michael Smith scoring. Did he score? No, he didn't score. Did score.
He did
Can't
the
tell.
Rotherham
Can't
game.
remember.
Well, the Rotherham game was 2.8 years ago, but yeah. About two
You
years
can't
ago.
get 0.8 of a year.
No, 2 years, 7, which it was. No, it was February or March. I can't remember.
Either way,
That was your first football, mate. That was your first football game.
and then after that, I went to where did I go after that? Let me check. So I went to
Chesterfield,
Rotherham.
Wrexham.
Then I went to
Chesterfield,
Chesterfield,
Wrexham.
Wrexham. Then
Atmosphere was
after
good.
that, I went to.
Burton, Plymouth, I assume.
I am going to tell you. You don't need to
No, it
keep
was 2-0
guessing.
loss. It was a 2-0 loss, I do know. Oh, Sheffield United, Barnsley.
2022, my first season as a football fan. I went from Hillsborough to Chesterfield to Sheffield United to Burton,
Yeah,
then to Huddersfield,
yeah.
then back to
And
Chesterfield.
then you went to and then you went to Sheffield Wednesday, Portsmouth, which the atmosphere was good as well.
Then I went to pre-season friendlies. So
yeah. So you've given your rating. I've given my rating. Overall
have you
rating.
calculated your rating? My overall rating is a drum roll, please. It's not as high as I expected it to be. It is a 33.1. Only ground scoring highest. Only ground scoring higher is Wembley with a 33.5.
I didn't want you to say it. Oh.
Well, it's too bad I've just said it, so suck it.
Well, there is one thing that's going to be similar because my score. Drum roll, please. Can I have a bit of beat? Can I have a higher metro, please, mate?
You never specified the metro.
I did just then.
Okay.
You can stop now. That's more than enough drum. That's more than enough drumming. You can stop.
Okay, I'll stop.
It is a 29. Yeah.
Is that it? 29 flat?
Yep, 29
You
flat.
taking the piss?
And I haven't done my research, so.
And I doubt that we can make predictions in this episode because.
Oh, we're doing it anyway.
Previous predictions weren't. No, but the previous predictions haven't happened yet.
Oh, yeah, we can't say that, but we can predict a game. And we're going to predict the next Chef Wednesday game because we're doing a Chef Wednesday podcast. Chef Wednesday Burnley, score predictions, please.
Is that a home or oh, that's away to Burnley, isn't it?
Nope, home.
Oh, it's at home
Sheffield
to Burnley
Wednesday
on the
at
19th
home
of
to
October. Anyway, I'm going to go a. Are you writing this down, by the way?
I've written mine down.
I am going to go with a narrow 2-1 win.
Excuse me?
2-1 win.
To give others backstory, if you're not a Sheffield Wednesday fan but still listen to the podcast, which would be nice. Sheffield Wednesday, Burnley are third. unbeaten in the last 5 at least, but I'm not going to find out some more. Sheff Wednesday are in a good run of form, but form doesn't mean anything after what are they called? International break, which we all hate. Because well, obviously different players can be playing. But Burnley obviously will be favourite going into the match, looking on the table. Sheffield United still haven't lost a game. Great. I am gonna go. I'm gonna be at this match because I am.
I won't. I'll be at work.
I'm gonna go with a Sheffield Wednesday Uno, Burnley Uno, and can I have your first goal scorer, please, Dan?
My first goal scorer is going to be a Burnley player, so I need to look him up. I'm going to go with. They are injured and suspended, so I'm not going to go with them. I'm going to
Josh Brown was the top scorer
with Lyle Foster. He probably won't be starting.
Wouldn't recommend it.
No, I'm not going to go.
He's got 2 goals. He's done decent. How many games has he played?
No, I'm not going to go with Lyle Foster. I'm going to go with Josh Brownhill.
I knew it. What a
Have you seen how many injured players they've got, by the way?
Yes.
7 injured players.
Difficult one. I don't want to go a Burnley player. I think because Sheffield Wednesday can't do can't do 2 comebacks in 2 games. It's just not allowed.
Well, they can. They can do it.
Go with. I really don't know. Deschamps Bernard won't play because he'll just come back from international duty in Jamaica. Shea Charles, that was his first goal of the season first career goal on Saturday. So I'm not going to go with him.
First professional goal.
I would go Masaba, but he will only score if he's coming off the bench because he's more of an impact player currently. And then obviously Burnley can't score. Marvin Johnson. There you go.
Also,
1-1 Marvin Johnson. You've gone 2-1 and Brownhill.
Can I just ask? Kabaki, he got injured in the game that we watched in your room. The one that got subbed on and taken off. Is that right?
Yes. He may be
muscle
back
injury. Late October. That's not muscle injury though.
That could be Burnley.
Burnley's mid-October. You muppet.
Yeah, but it didn't know. They don't know, do they?
I know, but they've predicted. They've predicted late October. Also, I didn't see.
Danny Ross an interview could be back for after the Easter break. So.
I didn't see him go down at all.
No, I didn't. That was a bit odd.
Maybe he just pulled a muscle while running or something, and then just started limping. And Danny was like, "We've got to take him off."
Should we wrap up the podcast, John?
By we, you mean you?
Let's do it. Okay, I'll wrap up the podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Go check us on audio mediums. Obviously, this podcast and all future podcasts, I assume, will be uploaded onto the YouTube thing. If you have any ideas of future grounds we should go to, then leave them in the comments section below. What ground will we do next? Who knows? Actually, who knows? We'll figure it out.
Could do Burton
the
next.
One comes out. Could do Burton next. Not a bad idea. Chesterfield. Could do Chesterfield next.
Nah, I don't feel like doing Chesterfield next.
Well, Chesterfield, we need to do. Anyway, we will consider that and upload it, and you can watch it. Dylan, can you do the ending? Because you do every ending, please.
Goodbye. That's it.
Bye.
Just to follow us on all social medias and stuff. Goodbye.